Swiss franc Japan, CHF-JPY. So as I've mentioned before, that I like going on the bigger time frames. The reason I go to the bigger time frames is to determine my overall, or to say my bigger pictures or the outer structures, so that I can literally see what's actually happening within the markets, and that helps me to actually discover what entries am I looking for. So as you can see, we have our low right there, we also have our high right there. So I would say we are on a bullish market. So you're actually in a bullish market right now. So as we have determined our overall outer structure, it's time to go inside to understand what's happening within our inner structures. So we go to the 4-hour time frames. We go to the 4-hour time frame, you would see prices start becoming quite clearer, because now as you drop it lower, guys, it gives you a lot of I'd say a lot of edges to actually cater for. Okay, it doesn't fit right here, so you put right there, and then we cater from here to there, and then we read what's happening inside the structure. So what do? We firstly read how the market is moving. As I'm seeing right here, the market is actually moving in this type of nature. So you can see catered for that. This was an impulse move, so correction, also correction, correction also over here, and then we literally read. If ever it created a correction at first leg and creates the second version of a correction again, it tells you something, that it's building up towards something. That is when we discover that we are now formulating a trend over here. If we can look over closer to it, you're gonna most definitely see we are now creating a trend towards that level, because every time prices reaches this level, they literally turn. So as we created that, you would also see that even at the toppest point right there, it is also an area of sensitivity, right? Even at the top right here is also an area of sensitivity. So we call this a pattern inside a pattern, or a structure within a structure. This was a push exhaustion, which it means impulse move, correction, impulse, correction, then impulse. But this impulsive leg was quite trickling towards the upside before it literally started giving a clear version of its movement. As you can see, it was trickling, moving up and down, creating an ascending type of nature. So we would remove this, and also determine something that, okay, so we have reached to the top, and as we reached the top, we pushed to the downside, we broke out, started creating a correction. But when we started creating a correction, we created a correction after a correction. So there's something about this, guys, that I think I'll need to teach you. So I'll just explain a sneak peek about it. So what happens is, formulating either a descending structure or an ascending structure, sometimes prices tend to break out and then create a pattern or a correction that we call an ascending after an ascending, to formulate a double top type formation, or either a double bottom type formation for prices to go down. But this last leg of price action is there to trap the traders on the wrong side of the market. So this is what actually happened right here. I remember I took this trade the other day. This is what happened. So literally, as you can look closely right there, this was the previous high. Remember what I said, the rule is always that even when the price action is somewhere right about here, don't forget to always look left, right? Let's cut prices over somewhere right about here. So as we have cut prices, a lot of traders would have said this is most probably gonna be a continuation of buys because sells failed. But when it comes to me and understanding price action, it's not actually something like that, because I really understand how price movement quite work out and how do traders get trapped on the wrong side of the market. So if it was me applying my strategy and my forex knowledge, I would know that, okay, so we come from an ascending type of nature structure from here, and then the breakout was not as impulsive as it needs to be for us to confirm that it needs to come retest and continue. So the way it broke out, it was quite corrective. And imagine, you cannot confirm continuations over a corrective breakout. A breakout needs to be impulsive, not corrective. If it's corrective, there is a high chance, meaning there is 95% that it's gonna turn back to where it was. The same as here. So as you can see, it was corrective, it started trickling, and then it went back to where it was. But going back towards where it was, it also created another type of an expanding, ascending type of nature structure to complete a double top type formation right here. As you can see, this was a double top type formation. The second leg, this was the first leg. So according to me, this was my entry on this trade. I said the market will need to push to the downside, give a clear correction over here, and then that's when I'm gonna have my first entry over here. That's when I'll have my first entry over there, and then go with the down. After pushing towards the downside, I'm expecting it to break this low, this support structure over here, give a clear correction again, and then we enter our second entry over here. We give our second entry over here. This was our first entry, this will be our second entry. And then should the market continue pushing to the downside from here, break out this structure and then give us another clear version of continuation, that's when we go for our third entry over here to push with it to the downside up until it completes the 90% rule of the previous correction. Remember, this is an overall correction inside it. So let's look at how the market would react as we have set our targets right now. So guys, as you remember, I mentioned that the minute it creates this, is the minute it breaks out, it needs to give us a clear correction or a clear version of a continuation pattern. This is a squeezed flag, so we're literally looking forward to going with it down. So we're gonna have our first entry over here and our stop loss somewhere right about here, just to give it even more 5% to breathe, to see what happens next. So let's continue and see what's gonna happen. So as the prices are now here, we're gonna put some stop loss over somewhere right about here, just to protect some few profits and don't take unnecessary profits back to the market. So let's see what happens next. We are taken out. So as I've said, that this area is also an area of sensitivity. That is why prices, when they reach this level, they literally bought. So it's about determining what's going to happen next for us to be able to capitalize from these trades, reading in between price action. So let's see what happens. As you can see guys, prices finally reached our target, though it didn't move the way we were expecting it to move.
And remember, in Forex we're talking about, we came in this game for money, we came in this game to earn a living, so we are not here to play games.